Equipco TV. It's going to be larger than life.
Hey everybody, welcome to Equipco TV. I'm Adam.
And I'm Matthew. Thank you so much for joining us again for another exciting episode. Today we have with us Mr. David Succurro, CEO of RWC Canada. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. I guarantee it. So we're gonna ask a couple industry questions. If you could just start us off by telling us exactly, your exact title and what your roles and responsibilities are with the company.
So as you mentioned, I'm David Succurro, CEO of RWC Canada. RWC is a global manufacturer of water control type products, brackets, fire stop, etc. So we make everything from the meter to the fixture, pipe, the fittings, the brackets, the safety valves, the regulators, etc. As well as items like this from HoldRite, fire stop, brackets, pipe supports, that sort of thing. Global organization, started out in Australia, moved into North America through Cash Acme, introduced Sharkbite a number of years ago, 2004 to be exact, in North America, and now recently we purchased John Guest out of the UK.
That's right, yeah.
With representation in over 100 countries. The year before that was HoldRite, so kind of a whirlwind tour of pipe and fittings in an organization. It's been a really exciting time. 2 years ago, we actually went public on the Australian Stock Exchange. So
wow, great.
So we've been moving quite fast, like our hair's on fire sometimes, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
With you guys being an Australian company, which one of these was your first product that you guys came out with?
So the first, we're basically RWC, Reliance Worldwide Corporation, and Cash Acme. So Cash Acme's been around for about over 110 years, and American company that we purchased and entered into the North American business with in 2002. Sharkbite we started developing and using in Australia in about 1998 and introduced it in 2004 into the US, 2005 into Canada. So it's been quite a long time now. We still get asked if it's a permanent connection. Well, I can tell you 20 years later in Australia and 15 years later in Canada and the US, yeah, it's pretty much as permanent as it gets. HoldRite was an organization that really fit within our mainstay as an organization, and we purchased this company about a year and a half ago, based out of the US, American company, in business over 35 years. Great engineering, great ingenuity. Love their mantra, which is taking makeshift methods and turning them into engineered solutions. Taking that block of wood where the plumber would drill a hole through and run the pipe in, and having the brackets and fire stop for site fire safety, rather than using a tin can and some insulation and caulking. So basically all the products that we manufacture, we look at, are driven by the contractor. It's about innovation, it's about new technology, it's about adapting to the new needs of the industry. Not a secret that the biggest hurdle is lack of labor, lack of skilled labor, especially over the last 10, 15 years. And that's
We've talked about that all the time,
that's forced the new technology to surface. We have to keep up with the times. More buildings are going up, more residential units are going up, population is growing, and we need to figure out how to keep up with that and keep it safe.
Right.
I came with you in the finish here.
Two parts to this next question here, David. How did you get into the industry, and how long have you been in the industry?
I got into the industry, funny story is several years back, I actually worked for a mechanical contractor company that serviced high-rise buildings.
Okay.
And went into that organization more from a business aspect of it and looking at the business and the operations, but I really did enjoy being out there in the field, on the job sites, etc. And I got more involved within the company and the organization, and quoting jobs, pricing jobs, dealing with inspectors. I found that a little bit more interesting than just sitting in the office and just going through numbers and so on and so forth. From there, I actually, moved to high tech and running more of an operational type business with Motorola Canada. And, time came through some colleagues, et cetera, where I met the RWC people, and they were looking at creating bricks and mortar and a real presence in Canada. They had the foresight to see that, every organization, every country should have their own local representation. And for that reason, I'm here in this building that you see today, because they realize the need to have that local support, whether it's accounting, whether it's engineering and sales, rather than operate something from a sales office perspective. So we're distribution, we're engineering,
right.
We're the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, the complete package.
Set. Just the way, we say that we're the complete solution as a manufacturer. Well, we need to be that way in every area that we represent ourselves.
That's fair.
And I'm going on 9 years with this organization, and it's been a great
great
ride. And a lot of things have changed over the 9 years with us as well. When I started, we were in the middle of the financial crisis, and it's only been an upward swing. It was 2010, and middle of financial crisis, and this organization was still able to keep moving and moving and moving, because we were able to adapt and we made decisions on the fly.
Sure.
Very little bureaucracy, So it's brought us to where we are today.
Been quite the journey then, I think.
It has been, yes. A lot of changes, a lot of excitement.
So RWC is a very interesting company. A lot of product lines that you guys look after and sell, manufacture. It's an interesting company, different aspects of the products you offer. So can you tell us just a little bit more about the company itself from a 10,000 foot view?
From the company itself perspective, the core of our business is that manufacturing. It's that engineering. It's making sure that everything we do is of high quality. Whether it comes to the machinery that's used, the robotics, high-tech robotics that are used to make the shark bite fittings, to ensure that every fitting we make on a Monday is exactly the same as it is on a Friday.
It's very important.
Friday afternoon.
Definitely,
and a lot of the things that we do are from a safety perspective. I see you're holding a mixing valve, and a mixing valve essentially really comes down to tempering water. In short, you need to store at a high temperature for your water heater to make sure bacteria doesn't flow, but at the same time, you need to make sure it distributes at a low enough temperature down to 120 degrees to prevent scalding.
Yeah.
So it is a safety valve, and we need to make sure that the product that we produce always delivers on that.
Right.
So we 100% test these in manufacturing, not 10%, not batch testing. They're pressure and water tested right on the line.
That's a very important piece to have that quality with every single piece that goes off the line.
Yeah,
That's
all the
great.
quality control that we do, features that, for example, if something were to happen that it would fail, something in the line, solder, etc., the valve fails to cold. So other than causing a little bit of inconvenience. We know that with fittings, if we don't have the proper quality, whether it's the brass, we are DCR brass, desliquified resistant brass, where you get into hard water conditions, would hit the fittings, etc. Not only would it be potentially a safety hazard, but a lot of damage can happen as well.
Sure, yeah.
The same thing with the quality control in our pipe, and things like the hold right fire sleeve. The name says it all. It's a fire prevention product. It prevents fire from spreading from floor to floor.
Right.
We can't afford for the product that we develop and create and then manufacture to fail in any way. A lot of people depend on what we do, and most of the time, and everything that you see here pretty much is behind the wall. People forget about it. And for us, that's what we want. We don't want people to be thinking about us, because we're that safety net in the background.
Right.
Whether it's our PRBs, that are keeping our fixtures safe from blowing up and managing the PSI, to the pipe, and we over test everything. Is another quality that we look at. We beat things to death over and over again. Our latest is our EvoPEX, for example. We did a freeze test. Now, I'll tell you a quick story where when I told the plumber that, and I said, if it freezes, that's their problem. If they didn't shut it, they don't have any heat. And I said, no, it's not the reason why we freeze. We're detail oriented. We freeze those to minus 50 degrees and then install them right away. Why would you do that? Well, simple. If you're in Winnipeg in January that's sitting in your truck for 5 days.
No doubt. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And nobody's going to take it out and coddle it before they install it. They're going to take it out and install it. So
Yeah.
that's the level of detail that we look at. Things like our slip coupling. Contractors have said to us, it's really hard. We've got a pinhole leak. You almost have to be a surgeon to cut out that thing and get the right fitting.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we've came up with a fitting that allows for 3 extra inches, where they can cut out the piece, slide it in, and slide it back. Again, it's about making it easier. It's about safer for them. They don't have to put themselves in a situation that makes it difficult.
It's actually kind of funny that you mentioned this piece in particular. I've used this one a number of times myself, and I can tell you this is actually my favorite fitting with the shark bait. Within the shark bait family.
And what we've done with that type of technology is that we created it where we put it on PRVs as well, because plumbers go back and they need to replace something. So we put the slip function on that.
Yep.
We've done it on ball valves as well. So it's not just first time installation saying, hey, I got to cut out a PRV. I need to put the slip function in there and allow them to have a couple of extra inches.
Right.
So a lot of the things that we created, other than your basics, your elbows, couplings, and T's, we've done based on contractor feedback. Again, looking at the fire sleeve, we have these little whiskers here. Contractors are complaining that when these things get buried in concrete, they had a hard time spending a lot of time looking for them. So we came up with this little idea with the whiskers, which are very strong, forklifts drive over them, etc.
Yeah.
Quickly find them, saves a lot of time,
Absolutely.
safety, they don't chip away concrete in the wrong places, and very economical as well.
Awesome. Yeah.
David, I know our viewers out there are wanting to get to know you a little more on a personal level. What are some hobbies you do outside work? What occupies your time when you're not busy with RWC?
The biggest thing that occupies my time, my hobbies, hockey, and I'm a bit of I'll call myself a gearhead, motorhead. I'm into cars.
Yeah.
Hockey for a long time. I coached both my kids who are now both in university, but for a number of years I coached them both in hockey, my son as well as my daughter. So that took up a lot of my time. They both played rep. So I can tell you that on a regular occasion, I was probably in the arena about 8 or 9 times a week.
Yeah, I know that life.
So we as a family, we really brought us close together in the sporting, spending time at the arenas and spending a lot of windshield time talking, because as the kids were younger, it didn't matter which kid had something, the other one had to come along.
Hotel rooms.
Many
sticks in the hallway.
Great memories, yes, many sticks in the hallways, and parents, hanging out in the hallways, and we developed a lot of good relationships, good friends, that even though my kids have been out of hockey, my daughter just stopped last year when she started university, or this year actually, but we're still friends. We still have these relationships. My sons did a European trip with hockey teammates that he played with. Yeah. So it fostered a really good thing, and now they're both into that as well, teaching cars. I've always been a person that loved,
Do you have a favorite make and model year?
I'm a '60s kind of muscle car,
right.
and annually I attend Woodward Dream Cruise in Michigan with my son, where they have a few 100,000 people attend with all their American muscle, that sort of thing. So I really have I have an eclectic personality. Yes, I love my Ferraris and Porsches and Lamborghinis, etc. But something about the '60s and early '70s American muscle that really nice to be part of and see. And at one time I did work for GM in a dealership, so I'm trying to.
I can completely understand where you're coming from. That the 1970 GTO was my personal car, but this isn't about me. You're very.
Do you still have it?
I do not still have it.
And that's why you have a sad face.
That's why I'm married and have a house now. So
yes,
the two are not mutually exclusive. You seem like you're very passionate about your products. You seem like you're very passionate about you talk about your children's sporting events. What would you say is your favorite sporting team, and how passionate are you about that particular team?
I have to say my favorite sporting team is Toronto Maple Leafs. And I'll pause for a fact, because I can imagine anybody that's watching, really? I'm born and raised in Toronto. I believe you need to support your hometown team, and they've been through a lot. And they have a great legacy, a great history. I was able, actually, my son skated with the granddaughter of one of the original Leafs that I actually won the Stanley Cup. I was Armstrong. I actually was able to see his Stanley Cup ring. Funny thing is, his wife used to wear it. He said, I don't want that damn thing. But to meet him and see actually somebody that won a Stanley Cup, 66, 67, see the Stanley Cup ring, there's a history there. It's something that defines us. And I know
Maybe
it
one
hasn't
day
happened.
I'll see it.
I know it hasn't
I'm a
happened.
Leaf fan, so.
Yeah, I know it hasn't. Well, that's the closest I got to it, is I got to meet somebody before I was born that
That's
won
right.
it. But at the end of the day, there's that history there. I guess one of the reasons why is because there's more to it than just the sport. It's not about the franchise. It's not about the dollar spent. It's about what made it up in the stories and Maple Leaf Gardens. And,
That's right. Yeah.
you know, the good and the bad, but there's a lot there, and it affected a lot of people over time, and it brought families together back in the day where it wasn't just so much hype. But yes, I hope to see one in my lifetime as well.
Well, I was talking to a couple people last night that said, this is their year. So
Did they say that last year, the last 15 years in a row, or is that
Matthew knows nothing about sports, so we're going to keep it that way.
Okay, all right, no problem.
Yep.